Warren Buffett just sent a very powerful message to investors. This is his last letter to shareholders, and he's no longer going to be writing those letters to shareholders. And this is a disaster for Berkshire Hathaway, because investors have been in Berkshire since they believed in Warren Buffett. This is the man that built Berkshire Hathaway to a $1 trillion company and has built a personal fortune of $150 billion. If there is somebody that you're going to trust your money with, it's Warren Buffett and not someone else. And he's no longer going to be writing the annual shareholders. It means like he's entirely getting out of this business. So let's go through the annual letter and take a look at what is the final message that Warren Buffett is trying to convey to the shareholders. He starts the annual letter by saying that Warren Buffett has converted 1,800 shares of Class B to Class B in order to give these B shares to 4 family foundations. There are 2 types of Berkshire Hathaway stocks, Class A, and they're worth about $744,000 a stock. A single Class A worth probably more than your entire house. And that's because Berkshire Hathaway never split their stocks. Usually when a company grows and they have the price of the stocks continues to grow, the company usually splits that stocks into 2-to-1 or 5-to-1. So suddenly one stock worth 5 stocks. But now the price of the stock was divided by 5 as well. And that is usually made because companies want to keep their stock price liquid in the market. If the price of the stock worth like $1 million, you're less likely to buy and sell it. But if it's worth less than $500, then it's going to be far more traded in the market. And that's why Warren Buffett or Berkshire Hathaway has 2 types of stocks, Class A and Class B. Class B shares worth less than $500. So he basically converted about $1.3 billion of Class A into Class B. Then he continues to say that I will no longer be writing Berkshire's annual letters. It means that Greg Abel, who is the current CEO, will become the real boss and he will control the entire Berkshire. And he talks a lot about that because he's emphasizing on the fact that I'm too old to take care of this. My luck is being alive at 95. So he literally spends a big chunk of the letter just saying that I'm lucky that I made it up until 95. Most people don't make it past that age. Life expectancy in the US is about 78 years old. So if you make it past the 78, you are already lucky. And if you make it past the 90, then you are incredibly lucky. Retirement age in the US is like 67. So if you're working past the 90 years old, then you're incredibly hardworking and you have pretty much an amazing work ethics. And up until recently, he was literally the CEO of the business. He stepped down probably like last year. He continues the letter by saying how grateful he is for his entire life, and he met some of the most incredible people that helped him to build his business in his hometown Omaha. For example, this is a very interesting coincidence that he met Charlie, who is almost 7 years elder than him. Back in 1940, he was working at Warren Buffett's grandfather's grocery store, earning $2 for a 10-hour day. They didn't meet back in the days, but it's really interesting what a coincidence that they met later on in life. They became the best friends, and Warren Buffett gives him a lot of credit that Charlie was there to advise him, and without Charlie, he would not be able to build such a successful business. And they were friends for like 64 years. Just imagine that for a moment. These people were young back in 1940 when World War II was taking place, and they have seen so many things throughout their life. I cannot possibly imagine somebody was alive and was pretty much conscious in 1940 and still alive today. Since then, World War II happened, the United States was on the gold standard and Nixon abandoned the gold standard, the great inflation of 1970s, 2008 financial crisis, the dot-com bubble, you name it. He goes on with the letter and thanks a lot of people that he met throughout his life, but most importantly he says that he also met the president of Coca-Cola that earned Berkshire Hathaway dozens of billions of dollars, especially when Berkshire was a smaller company. And guess what? He was also in Omaha, just like Charlie. Greg Abel, who is the current CEO, he also lived a few blocks away from Warren Buffett back in the days when he was living in Omaha. Are all of these are coincidence? Well, he actually talks a lot about the fact that maybe he was simply lucky. Maybe he simply met so many incredible people. And if he didn't meet Charlie, Greg, or many other great people, he might not be able to build his business. He might not be able to become one of the wealthiest people in history. He goes on to talk about that there are 3 times that he almost died, that he didn't actually make it. But thanks to his doctors and a few other people, he made it. So if he actually died a bit earlier, then he wouldn't be the greatest investor of all time. There isn't literally any investor that would even come close to Warren Buffett that built his personal fortune to $150 billion just by investing in the stock market. He even goes on to say that those who reach old age need a huge dose of good luck. He gives a lot of credit to luck. In many heavily populated parts of the world, I would likely have had a miserable life and my sisters would have had one even worse. He basically says that my life is simply that I'm lucky. I was born in the United States, I was born at the right time, I met the right people, and that allowed me to be so successful. And that's why, thank you, Lady Luck. If it wasn't for luck, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, even though that he worked incredibly hard to be what he is. Then he goes on and says, what is next for Berkshire Hathaway? First of all, he's emphasizing on the fact that I need to step up the pace of lifetime gifts to their 3 foundations. He multiple times have donated dozens of billions of dollars. And if Warren Buffett did not donate a single dime throughout his lifetime, he probably would be a lot wealthier than he is today, because he literally donated probably like 30 or 40 billion dollars throughout his lifetime. And he's saying that, wait a second, I have $150 billion and I pledged to give it all away, and now I'm 95 years old and I haven't done that yet. So maybe you're going to see some activities where I will be selling some of my shares in order to make these donations. I won't be selling a lot of A shares because I want investors to be confident that I trust Greg, just like Charlie did. If I'm going to suddenly start selling my A shares, and investors would panic because they're like, look at Warren Buffett, he's selling all of his stocks, maybe we should too. And he's simply using an excuse that he's going to give it away. That's why A shares, I'm going to keep them. I'm not going to sell a lot of them so that investors will have faith in Greg. Until then, when the time comes in and Greg has proved himself and investors now trust him as much as they did, for example, Warren Buffett, then these shares most likely will be sold by his children who will have access to them. But he is certainly going to sell some of his stocks. That's why he's saying that the acceleration of my lifetime gifts to my children foundations in no way reflects any change in my views about Berkshire's prospects. Greg Abel has more than met the high expectations I for him had when I first thought he should be Berkshire's next CEO. So he's like, you will see me selling some of my stocks. You will see me doing that because I gotta give some of that money to charity. But it doesn't mean that I am doing that because I don't trust Berkshire, because I don't trust Greg. I have chosen Greg because he actually met my expectations. So do not draw judgments. If you see suddenly in the news that Warren Buffett has sold some of his stocks, do not come to the conclusion that Warren Buffett has lost the confidence in Greg Abel. He goes on to talk about the company itself. So Berkshire has less chance of a devastating disaster than any business I know. That's true. There isn't a single company today in the market that can enjoy what Berkshire Hathaway has. They have $400 billion or almost $400 billion of cash. They are ready for any disaster. The second company that has the second largest cash pile is Microsoft at $100 billion. So if anything is going to happen tomorrow, if a bubble is going to burst, all of them will come back to Berkshire asking for Berkshire's $400 billion. Maybe that's when Berkshire Hathaway is going to buy Nvidia and Palantir and Tesla at a fraction of the price that they're being traded in the market. That's actually why you have to be very patient. On the other side, he talks about the fact that it's very difficult for Berkshire to find great opportunities. Because we are dealing with a lot of money right now. We're investing, like the market cap is $1 trillion. So if we find a small opportunity out there and we throw $1 billion and we're going to have an ROI of 100%, we just made an extra $1 billion. But now take $1 billion and compare it to $1 trillion, it's not a significant amount. So our return on investment from now onwards isn't going to be as high as it has been historically because we're simply too big at this point. But we're very stable and we have enough cash to survive any crisis that the world is going to throw at us. But he's also saying that our stock price will move capriciously, occasionally falling 50%. When I'm no longer around, there is an opportunity or there is a chance that the price will fall below 50%. We are in the middle of AI bubble and the bubble is going to burst. Berkshire stock can also fall down below 50%. But that doesn't mean that there is something wrong with Berkshire. Something like that has happened 3 times in the last 60 years when Warren Buffett was leading the company. So do not turn around and say that Greg Abel has destroyed the company. It is going to happen. The nature of any crisis to bring down the entire market, and that will happen. Expect that and be ready for that. But keep in mind, don't despair. America will come back and so will Berkshire. No matter how big the crisis is, the United States will survive. Remember the 1929 Great Depression, unemployment rose above 26% or 27%. World War II, and yet the United States emerged even more stronger. The abandonment of the gold standard, the world is still using the dollar. The great inflation of 1970s, the dot-com bubble, the 2008 financial crisis that literally almost wiped out the US economy. And still, here we are. The United States is still the most powerful economy in the world. So no matter what you see is happening around the world, please continue believing in America and Berkshire. And a few final thoughts. He goes on to give an advice. Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. Learn at least a little from them and move on. It's never too late to improve. Warren Buffett has done mistakes. You have done mistakes, but you should move on. The most important thing is to learn from these mistakes. And I like the way he puts it, that just learn a little from them, because most people never learn from their mistakes. I see so many people get into the stock market and they repeat the exact same mistakes over and over and over. If you even learn a little bit from your mistakes and you apply them in your next trade, in your next investment, in your next action, then over time you're going to accumulate that wisdom and knowledge, and your decision making is going to improve greatly. So move on and learn from your mistakes and improve every single time. And here is the best part. Greatness does not come about through accumulating great amounts of money or great amounts of publicity or great amounts of power in government. You do not become great just because you have hundreds of billions of dollars. Is he talking about Elon Musk that's about to become a trillionaire? And then greatness does not come from publicity just because you're famous or just because you have a lot of power. All of that is great, but real greatness comes when you help somebody in any thousands of ways. There's so many ways to help people. So if you help people and make the world a better place, that's when you become great. In fact, think about building a really great business. How do you do that? The more you help others, the bigger the business you are going to build. If your product, if your service helps others, then the market is going to reward you. And if you keep that mentality in your head over time, that's how you win in life and in business. And that's what the letter is all about. So if you go through the entire letter, you can actually summarize it in a few points. First of all, he's like, I'm stepping down because I'm simply too old and health does not allow me to be active. Secondly, please, I trust Greg Abel, trust him as well. 3, there are going to be crises and we might be on the brink of a major crisis where the price of Berkshire could fall down by 50%. Do not panic, think with your brain, and make smart investing decisions. And if you want to know what are the top 5 stocks that you should be buying right now, then check out the first link in the description of this video. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.